Top of the morning, folks. Chris Rockwell here on my first cup of coffee and catching up on what's going on in the world like I do every morning and kind of get my day started with a cup of coffee and I go kind of feel like this for for a minute till I get rolling. Um, I was watching this the latest update on Allstate. The CEO apparently came out with this terrible, inclusive ad, and I had to comment on it because during my comeback and starting all over, when I was getting sober, one of my first jobs to try to just get started again was actually, it was not easy. It was working for Allstate, and it was totally out of my comfort zone. I didn't like it at all. It was not anything that I was interested in. It was reverting back to kind of like the original, kind of an early stage of my sales career, like in the very beginning when I was young, and it was extremely humbling. I can tell you that. But I ended up passing the state license for insurance and really worked hard at it because that's what I do. I tried to do a good job, but pretty quickly I knew it was temporary. More interestingly was my assessment of the company culture of Allstate and the insurance industry as a whole. I learned a lot in a very short period of time. I think part of it was I'd had a lot of business experience, and so I was looking at everything from a perspective of a curious business minded person, and the state of insurance across California where I'm from. And my job literally was calling people who were Allstate customers and letting them know that their home insurance had been canceled due to fire threat. And the reality is that the insurance companies all got together and with the governor, Newsom, that's who it was, and they were allowed to pass some pretty crazy bills. And part of that was being able to leave California and not insure Californians anymore. What they did was super gangster, and I wouldn't have known this unless I would have been where I had been before I showed up to Allstate, which was in Silicon Valley, dealing with venture capital and the investment community. And what I realized, what Allstate was doing is they were exiting as a corporate company in terms of providing insurance home insurance to people, jacking up the other rates if anybody was able to stay, and what was the kind of the darkest switch and bait they did on their own customers is that they canceled their traditional Allstate coverage, but they had backdoor financial partnerships, and that was very closely tied financially. To me, it seemed like they were all in cahoots together. So they would offer, there became Silicon Valley insurance creditors that would, insure high risk homeowners. And I saw a lot of these places, map wise as far as trees, and I was very conscious of the fire problems in especially my hometown and the surrounding areas, Paradise, and that was right up the street, so there's, and my town had suffered, and the foothills around my hometown suffered really bad fires, man. Accidental fires, Cal Fire, PG&E, Newsom. I was there, and then I actually happened to be developing a tree software company repurposing wasted wood, which is massive amounts. I can't even describe how much it's it's unbelievable how much is wasted, and how many good trees get eliminated in the hundreds of thousands with technicalities designed by a combination of restructuring insurance coverage and having a power company that is a monopoly and a fire saving group that has a budget as big as, a federal government agency, and it continues to grow exponentially. So, not sure if it's the chicken or the egg, right? So all I know is we've had more fires than we've ever had. Is that a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that all the insurance companies are all lock and step with all of those other accidental events, natural events, natural disasters? I think not. So, good propaganda, good marketing, but Allstate actually completely destroyed their brand massively, not totally, but significantly, with the CEO coming out with a scolding of the American people after these tragedies in New Orleans. And I don't even want to go into it because it's pretty sick, but I got a taste of what that company Allstate was really about when I saw the CEO, completely disconnected from reality. He looked like an SS officer, and I do know what's behind Allstate, so just saying, it's not, some nice little Midwest company, just like Warren Buffett's Geico likes to pretend. So, yeah, insurance companies they're more gangster as banks than the banking people. So, they're all the same, but it's pretty savvy stuff, man. And they make a lot of money, and they do not do a lot for that money, especially nowadays. Part of that's because the average people abuse the insurance format. So theft and just all kinds of destructive behaviors to get over on the insurance companies over the decades. And so, insurance companies and finance people, they're savvy to it. They know. That's why they're also pulling out of California. It's a mess, and they don't want to be part of this mess that they helped create in lock with the governor. They have a solution in Silicon Valley with a bunch of VC money, venture capital money, that allows them to make bigger premiums now by not even being there. So that's what's going on. If I wouldn't have been involved, I wouldn't have known this, but I actually have an eye inside of this, and I'm not a Allstate loyalist. I'm not some guy who was there forever. So I have an objective view about the company and the business, and I like to analyze companies, and the culture is very interesting. They're no joke. They are no joke, but they are definitely completely out of touch with reality in terms of how they're relating to their customers and just to people in general with their latest marketing ploy with the CEO scolding the American people and telling us that we need to get more together and all that stuff. So, the bottom line is people are so tired of listening to the nonsense of whether it's from corporatists or if it's from just regular people who are highly delusional because their feet are not on the ground, and they've been convinced that they're a victim, and that's only growing. I've experienced it personally dramatically because I choose to put myself out there, and I choose to deal with very sensitive topics like race and socio-political differences in our own country. There are so many different tribes that we try to act like we're all one tribe, and we are as a country, and we should be. But this mindset of we're all in these different groups, and we all need to be respected and without earning merit. And those days are old and gone, dude. Spent the last 20 years having to navigate all of that kind of craziness, and that has set sail. That's not the leading force anymore. What's important today are regular people who work hard. Get it? Yeah. The rest are just excuses. And the powers that be in our marketing and propaganda with the big boys, they continue to drive that home. And Allstate's a big part of that too. So if you just study their advertising in terms of their how they deal with race, it's so divisive in terms of their ad campaigns and how they select white people or black people or Hispanics, and they'll put them in primary or inferior positions, and it's all different. Like I just saw an ad where they led with the black driver being a good, responsible driver, and I think a Hispanic lady was also the responsible driver, and these other two shots were the white guys. They looked totally out of touch. They looked like cream puffs, and they were totally not in touch. They were driving crazy, and the other guy was totally watching his TV on his car and crashes, and it's very, very divisive. So just kind of be aware of that a little bit, when you're watching advertising, and these subtle things are actually very not subtle, but we're so desensitized, and most people don't really pay attention. They just kind of looking for the next little shiny thing, so that's the problem also. So anyway, you guys, I'm in the office, and I'm working on my projects, and I'm not sitting around feeling like somebody owes me something because I struggled, or that someone else is to blame, or any of that stuff, man. But I'm tired of people leading with that. It does get a little old, and I'm glad times have changed. I'm really glad times have changed. I'm glad to see that working folks have a voice and can feel good about being good parents and working hard at a job, and just doing the right things. Like, I'm glad that that's becoming important again. Yeah, really am. It validates the confusing and frustrating path I've had, and from those some of those outside forces, a lot of internal, but propaganda is powerful. And that's why I focus on it and study it so carefully. And I like to talk about it because our society is a result of very intelligent propaganda that most people are not even aware of. They simply think they created their reality and they live that reality. And that's a tough news flash to try to break to people, but whatever. I've lived too long in the behind the scenes in the media world, in the tech world, and talking about Allstate insurance, is just one small window, but windows into how this whole financial game is played. And we get sold a bill of goods as working class people, and we have to stay savvy. We have to stay savvy to the victims who act like victims more than anything, and try to project their junk onto good people. That's my biggest thing, man. So it has nothing to do with tribe, color, ideology, none of that. It has more to do with just not being such a selfish ass, thinking you deserve something that you didn't earn. Like those days are so over. So Allstate is probably going to suffer massively for their unawareness and their racial fragmenting, like so many groups do to our country and our people. And fortunately, they're paying the price right now. People are leaving Allstate in droves because of that behavior. And in the past, that it worked. But again, if you're not aware of what the climate of the world is right now, and think it's something 4 years ago, think again. Or 2 years ago, think again. It's a very different time, and I'm so happy that I'm an entrepreneur that has put my money out there. I've really tried hard to do and build good things. I haven't always succeeded. That's kind of part of what being an entrepreneur is about. Is if you're like me, out to try to innovate and do really good innovative work. Sometimes it doesn't work out. There's lots of moving parts, man. But to build something special with good people matters to me. And when I see corporate clowns not valuing that and then taking advantage of the working class, that's where I feel like I have to step in and share a little ditty about my experience and my thoughts on it. So today I'm in the office, like I said. I have meetings today. I'm working on the next steps of what I'm developing, and man, it just feels good. There's no bullshit. There's no hidden agendas. It's like just good, clean, collaborative work with great people, and I couldn't ask for more. So I think we should all want that, in our work, and expect that if we're giving good stuff, So you guys have a great day. I'm gonna do the same thing, and it's beautiful out, and life is good, man. You guys enjoy your weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.